All right, so the Heat beat the Celtics. Man, that was a crazy series. Like I said that the Celtics were gonna win in like 4 or 5 games, and I could not have been more wrong, man. The Heat, I thought it was just gonna be Jimmy, trying to cook up, be Himmy Butler or whatever. But it really wasn't. It was more of like the rest of the team helping him out finally. And that's what I'm worried about for this next matchup. Seeing as the Nuggets beat the Lakers in 4 games. I also thought that one would go a little bit longer, maybe you know, 5 or 6 games. But I mean, the Nuggets just handled the Lakers pretty well. And yeah, so let's just get into the first couple topics here. So, can Jokic, dominate Bam like he has to the previous three centers in this playoffs? He faced Cat, absolutely bummed him out of the gym. I mean, he bummed DeAndre Ayton out of a job pretty much. I mean, Jock Lando was like taking his minutes. I mean, it was pretty sad to see what Jokic was doing to that man. And he didn't dominate AD like he did the other two. And I'm forgetting about Rudy Gobert too, but I mean, he never they switched a lot with Cat and Rudy, but AD put up a pretty good fight, but he's still got like 30 point triple double dropped on him every night. So I'm excited to see what happens for this series. Can Jokic dominate Bam? Like he has the height advantage and the just weight advantage. Obviously, Bam is more athletic, but that doesn't matter at all, as we've seen. Bam was doing good on defense, again in the last series against the Celtics. They had him switching a lot onto, their forwards, whether that be like Jason or Jalen, or he could still guard Al Horford like he was doing most of the game. Even when, Rob Williams came in the game, defended him pretty well. I mean, he allowed a lot of offensive boards, which is I think like my biggest knock with Bam. Because like Jokic likes to get in there if he misses, but if Jokic isn't the one shooting, he's really not going in for an offensive board. But you know who is Aaron Gordon. I mean, that's like his main job on offense, just stand in the dunker spot, get a rebound. I mean, unless he's up on the 3-point line. And I mean, like the defense just is daring Aaron Gordon to shoot the ball because I mean he's not that great of a 3-point shooter. We all know that. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, if Bam can like successfully box out Jokic, that's a plus. But other than that, I really don't see him stopping Jokic, because just because of the pick and roll aspect, Joker can be at the top of the key running the offense. He could be at the free throw line, just dish it out to the corner, whatever it may be. And I'm kind of excited to see what Eric Spoelstra does if he runs like a box one with Bam on Jokic. Yeah, that would make the most sense to me if they were going to run a zone. Because what they were doing against the Celtics were running like a combination of I'm gonna throw a zone at you and then I'm gonna throw some man coverage at you, and it was working pretty well in the first couple games. It had them very confused. Um, but I really don't see that working against the Nuggets just because Jokic can read everything. I mean, he can read whatever defense you throw at him, he's gonna know. And I mean, same with Jamal Murray. He might be a score first point guard, but he's still able to read plays. Same with Bruce Brown, same with KCP. So that I'm super excited to see how that Bam matchup works with Jokic on the defensive end, and then same flip it around for Jokic playing defense against Bam. Jokic isn't best at defense, right? I mean, he could probably bully Jokic down low a little bit. Um, but the thing is, the past couple games, Bam has not been that dominant down low. I mean, he's just missing these like free, like hook layups or whatever it may be. Um, I believe he was shooting like worse field goal percentage in this playoffs, and he was definitely shooting worse overall last series against the Celtics. He was shooting 51%. This playoffs, he was shooting like 58% during the regular season. So he's definitely like, feeling the pressure of these like playoff vibe centers. So I'm definitely excited to see how that works out. And then my next major point was can the Heat keep up their three-point prowess? I mean, they were going absolutely crazy against the Celtics. The first game they shot 51.6%, 16 for 31. And then there's kind of a pattern here. So, first game, shoot 51%. Second game, kind of had a bad game, 35%, but I mean, you still win that one. Then game three, 54%. And then every like loss that they took, you can definitely tell that they were not having a good shooting night, because look at game four, they shot 25%. The next game, they shot 39%. The next game, they shot 46%. And then in the last game, they shot 50%. So, as long as they're shooting the three ball well, they win games. And that's super scary for the Nuggets because, I mean, they like to guard the three a lot. I mean, whenever, you throw the pick and roll at Jokic and whoever is guarding the point guard at that time, or the ball handler at that time, Jokic likes to come up on the three, which means he's not dropping back. And that leaves, Bam or Jimmy wide open for like a cut to the basket. So I mean, like the threes might not have that much of an importance for Miami, but if they don't have that ability to score the three like they have been throughout this run that they've been on, I don't see how they win more than two games. Um, and then like who's guarding who on the defensive end for the Nuggets? Because obviously the Celtics had two of the like more premier defensive guys at the wings. Jaylen Brown is super good, very underrated on defense, and then Marcus Smart is literally like one of the candidates for the defensive player of the year. I mean, you can't get better than that guy on defense at the guard position. And the Nuggets don't really have that. Jamal is I mean, he gives it his all, but he gets super tired from like the offensive load, and then he picks up a couple fouls. So I mean, he's not that great on defense. So now you're just left with like Bruce Brown, KCP, who are like super good at defense, but can they guard all three to four since Tyler Hero might be back around like game three or whatever? But they have a bunch of shooters and you can't guard them all. So I really think like what is the key like importance for the Heat is just keeping up that 3-point prowess. The ability to knock down that shot whenever. And that means Jimmy has to be driving a lot. And against Aaron Gordon, who I assume is going to take most of the coverage for this series, which I think is great for the Nuggets. And the Nuggets have been one of the more physical teams during this playoff run. So I really don't think Jimmy will have that much impact or like luck going to the rack just because Aaron Gordon is going to be down there, and Jokic likes to kind of hover around the basket, especially if Bam is going to be down there kind of blocking everything up. Um, so yeah, just kind of like piggybacking off of who's guarding who. The Nuggets defense has improved a lot during this playoff run. I like how every social media person is pointing out like, oh man, their defense has been terrible. How are they gonna match up against the Heat, who are one of the better offensive teams in the league? Um, it hasn't really showed that they're a bad defensive team. I mean, they've been putting stops to the Lakers, who averaged something around like 100 points for their four games. I mean, that's not that crazy impressive. And the only like knock that I have on the Nuggets defense was they got absolutely torched by KD and Book. Those were the only two people that they were allowing to get buckets. You know what I mean? Um, so what I think that Miami has to lock in on the mismatches, whether that be Jimmy on Jamal or just kind of getting Bam on a smaller person, whatever that may be. Um, but I really think that the Nuggets could be the X factor to this series. And then also the Heat and keeping up their 3-point ability. But other than that, just like little small X factors might be Bruce Brown against, like a smaller Duncan Robinson at the two spot. I think that might be interesting. And then, just like seeing whether, Caleb Martin can keep up what he's been doing. Because if he can't and he falls back into his regular self, I really don't see how this goes more than like 5 games, honestly. But I'm super excited to see what comes from this series. I'll definitely post a recap after game one, so we'll see you after that.